Is there any other questions or comments? No, this is the gentleman. Sorry, my little helper.
My name is Michael from Phillpot. Paul, I received, I think like everybody else, a letter in the mail from Stephen Jones with attachments such and such, such and such. A question here, well, you touched on it. APRA and ASIC acted quickly to secure the funds held by TRIO. These funds were made available to the administrators of TRIO, which is the PPB. Who are they?
I mean, Stephen Jones, poor old Stephen, he sets up a straw man in an argument and the straw man gets up and beats him to death. You know, I've never seen anyone who can get beaten in an argument by his own straw man. Okay, let's have a look at that. First of all, ASIC and APRA did not act quickly because we know, and he should have known this, but he didn't bother to turn up to the meeting. By the way, this is not the first meeting he hasn't turned up to. He hasn't turned up to any meetings that we've convened of importance. He didn't turn up to the meeting with Bill Shorten and Jones and Metcraft. Too busy. Didn't turn up to the follow-up meetings with Shorten's office. Too busy. But if he hadn't turned up, he'd know this. They didn't act quickly at all. They shut the gate after the horse had not only bolted, the horse was overseas, luxuriating in Phuket. Right? Didn't even get close to them. That's one issue. The second issue is that in terms of PBB, you ask who are they? PBB are a liquidator, appointed initially as administrators, but appointed by the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Liquidators are appointed off a list, which the Supreme Court has. But you should know this about PBB. A senior partner of PBB is Greg Metcraft's predecessor from ASIC. But there's another issue about PBB I want to raise too. PBB says that the $74 million that was in the omnibus account down in Melbourne, that only $1.4 million belonged to you people from Astara. Okay? Show us the figures. They haven't shown us any figures on that. Well, they say, well, you should accept that. So after a terrible fraud's been perpetrated, there's been lies told, we're supposed to accept on face value PBB saying it was only $1.4 million belonged to you. I don't think so. I think at this point, people say, no, you show us how you came to that figure. I'll tell you this, Sean Richard, when he spoke to us in Silverwater Prison, I think one of the most significant things that he said was this, and I think he's right on this. He said PBB used the same law firm to advise them on the legality of all this as was used by Sean Richard. So when PBB took over TRIO and Astara, sorry, not by Sean Richard, it was used by Phillpot in TRIO, who, by the way, has been banned from being a director in Australia for the rest of his life. They used the same law firm that was used during the fraud to advise them on these issues. So no, I don't accept their figures until we see them, until we can send them off to an independent forensic accountant. Nor should you. So what he's put forward there is actually an exposure of, and you've picked it up, of the really important issue. Where is the money? Now, 3 years on, we've had ASIC, the Federal Police, PBB and APRA on the trail, apparently, according to Bill Shorten. 3.5 years on, or 4 years on. Does anyone know where the money actually ended up? Forget about the 74 million. We know where that was, and that wasn't enough. But what happened to the rest of the money, the 184 million? To this day, PBB and ASIC and APRA are still unable to tell us where that money went. Except to say, I think the term they used was, it disappeared. Well, I'm sorry, money just doesn't disappear. It went somewhere with someone and some group of people. So what he's pointing out there is the total inadequacy of ASIC and APRA. The fact is, their performance has been abysmal. It requires probably, in my view, and this is something that maybe you can direct me on, that there needs to be a standalone highly resourced, highly skilled personnel, superannuation authority in this country to look after that huge system. Because APRA, ASIC, Federal Police just can't do it.
We need an independent inquiry.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there any other?
This letter here was actually from Greg Metcraft to Stephen Jones.
So Stephen, look,
Thank you.
this is the insult to our intelligence. Greg Metcraft is heading up an organisation that's under enormous pressure of criticism, not just from us. People would have seen the Four Corners program. ASIC is under enormous public criticism at the moment. So Stephen Jones gets a letter from the head of that organisation and relays it on. Well, I reckon it's not good enough for a member of Parliament to be a letterbox who just hands on a letter that he gets from the authority. He's got to be representing you, he's not doing that. But to just use Metcraft's excuses to try and persuade us that somehow Metcraft is right, I don't think so.